Welcome to Fortune Cookies Tarot. I'm Annabelle. I'm a tarot practitioner for 35 years, over 35 years. And in this video, we are going to talk about the future of Joe and Jill Biden now that Donald Trump has taken office. Be right back. Welcome back, Tarot fam, and welcome to anyone who is new to my channel, who's checking out my content for the first time. I am going to be political heavy this week just because of the inauguration and the changing of the guard in the United States. So I do have other content. You can go through my playlist. You can go see my royal stuff, my celebrity stuff. I've got other sprinkles coming in this week as well. So don't get too stuck on the political stuff. So today is Wednesday. We will be talking about a political focus. That's what I try and do every Wednesday. And I thought it would be really interesting to take a look at the future of Joe and Jill Biden. If you go back and you look at some of my other videos on Joe Biden, I don't see him lasting very long after he leaves office. I just think that the clock is winding down. Jill is significantly younger than him, so I think she's going to have a bit more longevity. So we're going to look at them about 1, 3, and 5 years into the future. And we'll also look at their longevity and some of the relationships that seem a little wobbly right now. So I'm going to bring up the card view, but before I do that, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I've had great growth in my subscribership of late and would like to see that continue. I'm getting closer to 6,000 subscribers, which is really awesome. So thank you guys. I really appreciate all of you. Also, please consider becoming a member. My memberships give you early access to all of my videos. I typically batch them 1 day a week or 2 days a week. So you get all of them at once. You don't have to wait for them to drop day to day. I also do a members only live where I do readings for you guys. And once a month for my members, I give away an hour reading to my Tarot Master group. I give 1 reading away a month, and I give a half hour away to my Tarot Enthusiast group. So you get an opportunity to get a free private reading with me, and we can talk about your life, celebrity life, whatever you want. We can just talk about magical stuff if you want. I have a few people who have used their free reading to just talk to me about tarot. I am a tarot teacher as well, and I do coach and mentor psychics. We can talk about whatever you want. But today, we're going to talk about Joe and Jill Biden. So I'm going to bring up that card view, and we'll get crack-a-lack-in here. So I am recording this on Sunday, January 19th at 4:30. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, I think. I'm not sure. I can't read the clock from here. Might be a little bit later. Maybe 5:30. So let's see about that longevity of Joe. I want to check that again because I'm just not seeing that. Knight of Swords. He's just not with it mentally. 2 of Wands. We really are separate. 10 of Pentacles, that is transition. 10 of Pentacles is legacy, family, building that future into the future, but it is also transition because the 9s, how I teach the 9s are you kiss the bride, 10s, we get in the honeymoon vehicle and take off and go. So 9 is really completion, finishing the project, and 10 is moving on to that next project. So this does look like Joe's got some longevity issues. Certainly with this Knight of Swords, our knights are questing and doing things and flexing their mind powers. The swords are intellectual ability. We have that in reverse, and we've seen evidence of that he's just not, the mental acuity is just not there. The 2 of Wands, we have to make a decision. We're at a cross in the road. We've got to go one way or the other. Can't continue to live. The body is failing. The mind is failing. We get to transition. So, and in my other videos, I've already said, I don't think that that library is going to be anything to, you know, be excited about. I think his presidential library is going to be fairly weak. So let's look at the longevity of Jill. Seven of Swords. She is being relieved of her association with Joe Biden. She's getting, now that's not to say that, you know, she didn't at one point love him. She didn't at one point have an affinity for him, and that, you know, the marriage is anything other than, you know, a contracted responsibility for her. I think that's a good way to put it. That this is getting out of that entanglement, that is removing herself, being relieved of it, and moving into a time of joy, a time of collaboration. The Three of Cups for me is always that tribe card, as described by Melissa Sayanova, the author of Kitchen Table Tarot, one of the best tarot books you'll ever read in your whole life. This is the tribe that surrounds you, the people that support and grow you, the ones that are there, your ride or dies. These are my childhood girlfriends that I'm still friends with to this day, the sisterhood that I have with them. And moving into her future, she will be a Prince of Wands, doing exciting things. I don't think that there was very much excitement with Joe Biden. I think it really was a lot of work and making money and shuffling things from here to there. I don't think there was really joy. I know that the campaign talked a lot about joy for Kamala. A little sloppy shuffle for you guys, but I don't think that there was a lot of joy in the Biden household. I think there was a lot of strife and difficulty. You don't have a son like Hunter, and it's not complicated. You don't have an older son, Beau, who passes away from cancer without having you know, additional strife with that. And they are a blended family. They did have another daughter together, but being a blended family, even though Beau and Hunter's mom passed away in the car accident with their sister, even though that happened, this stepmother sometimes is an interloper when she comes in, just in my opinion. I do think that they had their own issues with Jill in there. So let's see what happens in 1 year with these two. Let's see what happens in 1 year. I am having such a hard time shuffling this Star Tarot. It's a bigger deck, and I am having a hard time shuffling it. Just not cooperating. So some of the relationships that have fallen apart, we have the situation with Nancy Pelosi, who historically was a very good friend of theirs. Of course, the contentious relationship with the Trumps, and we have the Democratic Party and also the Obamas. So I want to take a look at all three of these. So how do Joe and Jill feel about Nancy Pelosi? Joe is on the left. Jill is on the right. 10 of Swords, 8 of Cups. 10 of Swords, Joe is done with her. Joe is done with Nancy Pelosi. He does not want to deal with her anymore. It's a basically F her kind of vibe here. Has no interest. She can't do anything for him, and he won't do anything for her. So doesn't really matter to him. Jill, I think there is a bit more retribution in her blood at this point. And I think at one point she will tell Nancy how she really feels about her. So let's see how Joe and Jill feel about the Trumps. So Jill is interesting here because she thinks that they are the exact opposite of them. So whatever control and good and restoration Joe and Jill, or Jill, was intending for their tenure at the White House, she knows that the Trumps are going to go down a completely different road, that they are going to, they throw out the China, the Nancy Reagan China. They would just redo everything. They did not have the cordial meeting at the White House with the Trumps. This speaks volumes about that. They're burning the sheet someplace. Joe, in the meantime, the high priestess, he's not really looking at this. And I did do a video on the letter that Joe Biden is going to leave in the desk for President Trump. He is not doing the office handoff with him. He is leaving him a handwritten note. Obama did the same. So this isn't out of the ordinary, but I think it would have shown that he was a bit stronger of an exiting president had he actually met with Trump and had a chance to have some words with him. So I don't think that he's using his highest mind. I think he is using a lot of vitriol. I think there's a lot of vitriol there. And I don't think that Joe has the level of bravery to get up in his face, get up in Trump's face. So how do they feel about the Democratic Party? We'll do a reveal on this one. Joe and Jill, how does Joe feel? Absolutely betrayed. And within this, the Princess of Cups in reverse is, I brought my service to you. I gave of myself to you, Democratic Party, and you have thrown it back at me. And now I will not have any of those good feelings for you. I'm taking my ball, going home. Jill is setting herself on a course away from the Democratic Party. Unfortunately, there's, libertarians, there's independents, and there's conservatives, but I don't think she's going for any of those. She needs to find herself a new way. She needs to find herself something else to hitch her cart to. And she's been a political wife for so long that it's going to be very hard for her to rewrite her future. We'll look at that in 1, 3, and 5 years. How do they feel about the Obamas? 8 of Wands, communication is shut down. And the 7 of Cups, Jill will be open to talking to them in the future. She is not afraid to bring the Obamas into an equation when Joe is gone, but Joe is no longer speaking to them at all. So walking out of the White House, truly, they are closing the door behind them to everything that they know. So not going into the first year, how are they feeling right now? How are the Bidens feeling right now? 7 of Swords. I thought it was very interesting that the entire family during Joe's departing speech was wearing black. They were all wearing black. I don't know if everybody noticed that. I think some people did comment on it. There's an effort to be as high vibe as possible on this, but there's a level of bitterness that is very hard to get away from. This is the pet dog that turned and mauled someone's face off. The Democratic Party, they don't know what to do. And the Bidens don't know how to feel about that. They are vibing as high as they can. They're saying, well, I did my job. I served my country. I did what I was supposed to do and what I thought was the right thing to do. And now I am leaving. I think Joe is still secretly hoping that he's going to get a good presidential library. I don't think he's going to, though. I think he is going to get something very different. I've said this before. I think they're going to delay it and delay it and delay it until it's a non-issue. They're not going to break ground on this while he's alive. He's just never going to really see that structure. Again, despite the bad feelings, they are walking out with their heads held high. They're attempting to do that. Politics is no longer a place for them. The world and politics in America has changed for them. So let's fast forward to 1 year in the future. 1 year in the future. All things staying the same. Where do we wind up? Here's Joe. 1 year in the future, I don't know if Joe is still here. I don't. I think that I think he is still living, but I don't think that he has his faculties anymore. I think the erosion of the mind is going to happen very, very rapidly at this point. I think he is going to kind of unfold at this point. Jill, 1 year from now. Lovers in reverse, the world and death. That's a lot of transition there in those cards. That is separating. So is Joe under the care from someone else? Does his care eclipse Jill's capability as a PhD holder? Yes, it does. I think his faculties also erode to the point where he doesn't really know her all the time, unfortunately. I'm sad saying that, I'm not gleeful. I don't want you to think that I am, but I think he does start to unravel to the point where it's almost tedious going to see him, because he doesn't know who she is. He doesn't recognize who she is. 3 years from now, we're going to do a big jump. 3 years from now. World in reverse. I think Joe is still here, but I do think that, and again, it's relative when we say I think someone is on their way out, especially when we're dealing with mental issues, because sometimes they feel as though they exit. So still hanging on. A lot of support here, and I wonder if this is chemical or medical support. And 10 of Wands, it's just not flipping over. We're not flipping over yet. And what about Jill in 3 years? King of Swords. Hate to say it. She's really looking toward the future and ready to call things quits. I think she is in between the 1 and 3 years. I think she does kind of find things to be doing so that she is not occupied with it when the care becomes too much for her. I do think they keep him at home. I don't think he ever goes to a hospital. I think it's one of the rooms will be set up for him as a like a more medical situation within the home. Like, I'm not talking about like the hospital beds or anything like that, but he will be, I believe, confined to his room at this point. I don't think he'll be able to really get around. So maybe they'll bring him down, for holidays and things like that. I think the most part he will be in his room. Let's see where we are in 5 years. I think Jill will be on to other things, even though people will be telling her to not do that yet. The Hierophant, the Lovers, Justice, Hierophant, and Justice in reverse. Joe, I'm thinking he's still hanging on, but not in a good way. I think this becomes very tedious. I do feel that there's going to be a hospice type situation between 3 and 5 years. Empress could be being reborn into another situation. Again, I want to stress that we always want to take into consideration the free will and the efforts that sometimes will be put in so that people can make a change or make a turn. But I think more and more it will become a marriage that is not a romantic traditional marriage anymore, but more so of a situational marriage, which is very sad. But so I think they are limping their way out of the White House. I think they are divested of the people that they thought were their friends before. And I think that they are going into a future that's very, very uncharted. And they will only have their family to rely on. But it seems as if hired help is going to play a big, big part in that. So, kind of a sad end, kind of a sad end. So, I thought we'd get a little bit more spicy stuff going on in there. I'm not seeing any legal stuff, but I really was kind of focusing on their physical well-being and where they were going to be emotionally as a couple and how they were relating to other people around them that they have been there's been some conversation about how they're not getting along. So we'll see. We'll see. They're on their way to their Rehoboth Beach house. So Godspeed, Godspeed. And I wish them well. And I'm excited for the future. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the future.